This is the only organization in the world trained by special forces to become a trafficking gang. They are also the most powerful combat unit in Mexico. Their combat capabilities are on a special ops level, so when they fight over territory, they're not afraid of anyone. Their methods are so ruthless they outrage everyone. This is a classic crime film based on a true story. So without further ado, let's start the movie. If you like it, please hit the like button. The story begins at a canning factory, where each box of canned goods is worth $1.8 million. However, the reason for this exorbitant price isn't because the food is incredibly delicious, but because each box contains 1 kilo of premium powder. And this is also the largest transaction in Mexico in recent years. But as they're about to make the delivery, the factory manager appears extremely stressed. The powder ordered by the Italian client has been produced, but they still haven't received the payment the client was supposed to transfer. Seeing the goods piled up, he knows that if they don't get rid of this shipment quickly, being exposed is only a matter of time. The boss hears this and tells him to ship the goods immediately. But they don't know that their entire conversation was overheard by a special ops team hiding outside. Perhaps the trafficker's sixth sense warned him that something was wrong, so he immediately threw his phone away and quickly drove off. Did he spot us? What's happening? After him. What about the powder? Captain, leave it, let's go. Seeing their target about to get away, the entire team immediately gave chase. But unexpectedly, he suddenly accelerated, changed direction, and rammed straight into the nearby marketplace. Then got out of the car and started attacking frantically. At this point, the manager thought that by using the crowd as a shield, he could make the special ops team hesitate. But he was wrong. This team wasn't to be messed with. They immediately started firing indiscriminately into the crowd in the market. Soon after, several thugs fell on the spot. Seeing that the situation was bad, the manager immediately turned and ran. But he hadn't gone far before he was caught by the special ops team and pinned to the ground. Although they had captured the criminal this time, an innocent girl was hit by a stray bullet and became a constant burden on Lieutenant Manuel's conscience. Oh my God, please receive her soul into your world. The scene shifts to them taking the manager to an abandoned building. The colonel, without a word, immediately threw him into the basement. A few members of the special ops team followed him down, and not long after, agonizing screams echoed from below. A few minutes later, the colonel climbed out of the basement and said something to Manuel, who was standing beside him. Bury him. Let's go. I've got the address. Time passed quickly, and by evening, the colonel had set a trap outside, just waiting for the right moment to capture the drug traffickers inside the restaurant. But on his side, Manuel was holding his phone, seemingly drafting something. Suddenly, the colonel came and patted him on the shoulder. Don't tell me you're scared. Vampire. What's wrong? Now, go to the other side and cover for me. Luckily, the colonel didn't notice anything unusual. After he left, Manuel hit the send button on his phone and threw it to the ground. His teammate saw this and, instead of saying anything, helped him hide it. At the same time, the thugs received the message and quickly reported back to their boss. The colonel on this side also gave the order to begin the operation. A special ops team immediately moved in, quickly approaching the outside of the building. But just then, 2 police cars sped toward them at full speed. Seeing this, the colonel knew that some police officers were traitors, protecting the drug lords. At the same time, another team had also arrived at their designated position. The colonel saw the situation and gave the order to attack. Go. Soon after, the thugs were completely eliminated. But just as he was about to shoot the drug lord, Manuel unexpectedly pushed his teammate in front of him, causing him to miss the shot. What are you doing? Hearing his teammate Benny's question, Manuel offered no explanation. Finally, under the protection of the inside man, the drug lord successfully escaped the area, and a chase on the streets ensued between the two sides. Follow him. But just as they were about to catch up to the drug lord, another police car swerved out and blocked their path. After getting out of the car, the colonel's face was livid with rage. You bastards. Get out. Get out now. You idiots. Close the door. Damn it. You bastards. Get out of the way. We're in a pursuit. You damn scumbags. You lost Lara. Despite this, they didn't dare to engage the police. Finally, they turned their attention to the SUV behind them. Unexpectedly, none of the traffickers inside were still breathing. When no one was looking, Manuel secretly took the drug dealer's wallet. But this was all seen by Benny. That evening, back at base, the news reported on the day's events, blaming the special ops team for the deaths of innocent civilians. But no one reacted to the news. It was clear this wasn't the first time such an incident had occurred. Afterward, Manuel opened the wallet he had taken and shared the money inside with his teammates. This was the reason why, when someone saw him tipping off the traffickers, his teammates didn't report him. Benny witnessed the entire thing and refused the money Manuel offered. Benny's integrity deeply bothered Manuel, because integrity wasn't something that belonged in this place. He immediately pointed his gun directly at Benny. "We were trained to be in the field. The most important rule in the field is that your teammates stick together. The enemy is always against us. I am not against you, Sergeant. I swear it, but I don't need dirty money from drug dealers." Hearing this, Manuel said nothing more, but he knew in his heart that Benny would definitely become a problem in the future. The next morning, the colonel called a team meeting. He believed the failure to capture the boss was because there was a mole in the team working for the traffickers. Hearing this, Manuel immediately responded, "I don't suspect anyone. They're all my brothers. But you have to understand me. I absolutely will not tolerate a mole in my team." Hearing this, Manuel understood that the colonel was starting to suspect him. But he wasn't too worried, as he believed the colonel couldn't do anything to him just yet. Unexpectedly, as he turned to leave, an SUV pulled up right in front of him. The person who arrived was an accomplice of the traffickers. He told Manuel that a shipment of powder was about to be sent to Italy and asked him to watch the colonel's movements. Manuel, however, was blunt and said, "Varas knows someone is leaking information. We need to find a scapegoat for him. I need a couple of assistants. You have to sacrifice 2 of your men." With that, Manuel left immediately. The appearance of this accomplice also made Manuel think. The scene shifts to that evening. Manuel led the 2 traffickers' henchmen to a bar in the neighborhood. At the same time, Benny was also partying there. It was clearly no coincidence. Manuel wanted to get rid of Benny right here. To ensure nothing went wrong, he even arranged for a few people nearby to assist him. When he saw Benny, Manuel told the 2 henchmen to split up and act. At this moment, a dancing Benny also saw Manuel from a distance. But as he thought Manuel was just there to have fun, he was suddenly hit by a bullet and died instantly. That night, Manuel threw both of the henchmen and Benny off a large bridge in the neighborhood. A method commonly used by Mexican drug traffickers to deal with traitors. The next morning, the news reported that there was a mole in the special ops team. This news completely cleared Manuel of the colonel's suspicions. "I know this is painful. You were close to that bastard. But he was a mole." After all, after comforting Manuel, the colonel immediately left. But just as Manuel thought everything was sorted out, the colonel returned not long after. "Follow me." It turned out that another team had captured an accomplice. And from his confession, they learned that a shipment would be exported that night. But when Manuel saw this person, he was shocked, because it was the same henchman he had met not long ago. Due to a matter of jurisdiction, the other team only allowed the colonel to enter for questioning alone. Manuel was very worried outside, not knowing if the man would sell him out. Fortunately, not long after, the colonel walked out. "Call the anti-drug team. Assemble out here in 5 minutes." At this moment, Manuel finally breathed a sigh of relief. The scene shifts as the entire team of moles had assembled. "Tonight, we'll decide who the target is." The team members understood Manuel's meaning perfectly. Shortly after, they located the cargo ship bound for Italy based on the information they'd received. And just as the colonel had predicted, the ship contained a large amount of Mexico's finest powder. But just as the colonel thought this would be a great victory, he noticed Manuel looking at him with a murderous glint in his eyes. "What's with that look? This ship will continue its journey. We can make a huge profit." Hearing this, the colonel realized something was wrong. But it was already too late. Watching the colonel slowly lose his breath, Manuel fired several shots into the air to create a fake crime scene, making it look like a gunfight had taken place. Then he picked up his radio and called for backup. "Vampire calling. Vampire calling. I read you. Vampire. 2 wounded. I repeat, 2 wounded. Requesting backup. Acknowledged. Backup is on the way. Let's go." Manuel dragged the colonel's body onto the deck, then went to find the ship's captain. "I'm not sure if the colonel reported this to his superiors. I think you'll be pursued. I advise you to turn off your satellite navigation and communication systems. Change your route. Got it. Good luck, guys. Godspeed." After everything was taken care of, Manuel and his men went to pledge their allegiance to the biggest drug cartel in the area. However, their recruitment journey was not smooth. The Lara brothers only operated on the international market, while Manuel was just a local special forces soldier. Without his police cover, he was no longer valuable to them. But at this moment, Manuel came up with a new idea. The Lara brothers only cared about international deals, and they had neglected the domestic Mexican market, which was a very lucrative target. Manuel then proposed that he could help them control the entire retail market in Mexico, a field in which he and his team excelled. The big boss was a bit swayed by the offer, but his younger brother showed his contempt. Displeased with Manuel's arrogant attitude, he decided to teach him a lesson. He said he would only keep 4 men from Manuel's group, and he would personally kill the 5th as an example. He clearly wanted to humiliate these now worthless special ops guys. "Alright, then. Let's deal with him. This kid, how about you decide?" Manuel couldn't go along with it, of course, because he knew that if he did, he would lose the trust of his entire team. "You need loyal men, loyal to us. Do it, you idiot." Tensions rose instantly between the two sides. Fortunately, the boss intervened just in time, preventing a bloody confrontation. At this moment, Manuel also made his position clear. "We are here to work. Not a single person can be spared." But animosity had been sown, and both sides knew things wouldn't end so easily. According to the big boss's promise, Manuel understood he needed to prove his worth. The first person he targeted was the thug making a delivery. Although this guy had received some intel from his subordinates, he still looked down on the Lara brothers' methods. "You idiot, this is my turf. I'm the boss. Get lost, you fool. This deal is done." After shouting at his subordinate, he returned to his small workshop, where he was pleased to see his men working diligently. But that night, his men were noticed by Manuel and his team while making a delivery. Thanks to his years of experience, the thug noticed something was off. Luckily, he was familiar with the area. After a parkour-like escape, he hid under a car and successfully evaded the pursuit. Just as he thought everything was fine and was about to go back to the workshop to report, he didn't realize he was being secretly followed by Manuel and his team. The moment he opened the door, Manuel and his team immediately stormed inside with M4s. With their superior gear, they quickly took control of the thugs in the workshop. They then put on masks and used a short video to threaten the drug dealers, warning them who the real bosses were. After his speech, Manuel grabbed a large hammer and smashed the thug lying on the ground. Each hit was lethal and ended the man's life. Then, Manuel turned to the camera and issued a warning. "This is the price for not cooperating with the Lara brothers. End. Post this on TikTok." After everything was done, Manuel returned to the Lara brothers' house. This time, the big boss kept his promise and paid Manuel a hefty sum of $50,000. With the money in hand, the first thing Manuel did was share it all with his crew. And then they all left together. After leaving the Lara brothers' home, he gathered hundreds of unknown thugs. He knew that to become powerful, he had to build an army of his own. He rented a warehouse on a mountaintop and brought all these thugs together for a special 1-month training program. Here, physical training was a daily routine. Being exhausted only proved you weren't capable enough. Following the ruthless rule of survival of the fittest, those who persevered were the elite of the elite. Those who couldn't endure were executed, then incinerated and used as fertilizer. A month passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, the army that started with several hundred men had dwindled to fewer than 100. But few would have guessed that this small army would help Manuel establish himself as a dominant force in Mexico. After completing the training, Manuel held a ceremony to promote them. "You are an assassin. Thank you, sir. Next, you're the head of the assassination team. Thank you, sir." To solidify his position among these men, Manuel formed a mafia organization named Vampire. After some discussion, Manuel decided to lead his subordinates on a major mission. They drove pickup trucks to surround an entire street and then, with guns drawn, advanced toward the highway. Under the terrified gazes of the public, they brazenly blocked a bus on the road. After forcing all the passengers off and making them kneel in a line on the ground, Manuel used this display of force to intimidate everyone and mark the organization's beginning. Fire. After this audacious act, Manuel and his men left with an air of arrogance. Not long after, the news reported on the day's events. Thanks to the media hype, they officially became a terrorist group, which made it easier than ever for Manuel to make money. Even though Manuel's reputation was well known throughout Mexico, he was ultimately just a hired hand. Current profits have increased by 30%. Very good, Manuel. Well done. Despite Manuel's hard work, the Lara brothers' second-in-command still didn't take him seriously and often delayed his payments. Our cash flow hasn't been steady lately. Don't worry, just be patient, you will be paid more. Hearing this, Manuel was furious, but he couldn't turn against them yet. Alright, with that, he and his subordinates left the place. Unable to pay his men, Manuel took them to a high-end restaurant for a meal to maintain his standing within the gang. Unexpectedly, they ran into the second-in-command there. Oh my god, these low-level trash people like you dare to eat at the same restaurant as me? The second-in-command's words made Manuel's anger flare up. But he couldn't do anything at the moment, as their current strength was not enough to confront the Lara brothers directly. With no other choice, Manuel could only swallow his anger. But a surprise always comes. That night, a shipment needed to be transferred. For this small task, Manuel only sent his men to receive the goods. Unexpectedly, the person in charge of receiving the goods was the second-in-command from before. Because of their previous conflict, the two sides immediately became tense upon meeting. What's wrong, you scumbag? Get out. Where's the stuff? Go get it yourself. After the explosive greeting, the second-in-command began to inspect the weapons. But even after checking a few boxes and finding no issues, the second-in-command continued to be difficult. And Manuel's man wouldn't back down. I told you to go back. Listen up, you idiot. Don't piss me off. All the weapons are here. If you don't believe me, tell your men to check. Calm down, you piece of garbage. Get lost. Come here, you punk. Help these guys check. No way, you damn smugglers. You're dead. What? Open fire. And so, the two sides engaged in a fierce gunfight. Overwhelmed by superior firepower, the second-in-command and his men were completely defeated in just a few minutes. But because of this incident, they lost a close brother. Not long after, Manuel received a call and rushed to the scene. Looking at the body on the ground, Manuel was filled with rage, and it ignited a fire of rebellion within him. The scene shifts. Manuel gathers all his subordinates, and their only goal is revenge. Manuel, sir, we're ready. Let's go. Manuel, sir, we're ready. Attack. At this moment, the Lara brothers were celebrating. They had no idea this would be the last party of their lives. Just then, Manuel and his team arrived. After taking down a few guards, a massacre officially began. Not long after, Manuel found the second-in-command hiding in a room. Seeing Manuel, the second-in-command quickly knelt and begged for his life. But it was too late. You went after my brother. And you owe me money. I can give you 32 million right now. After eliminating all of the Lara brothers' men, Manuel completed his transformation, from an anonymous rogue special forces soldier to the biggest drug lord in Mexico. The story ends here. No matter how good the explanation is, it can't compare to the original. I'm Chanel Recap. See you next time.